everybody. Welcome back to In the Air on CricTracker with me, Nivedna Prabhu. This has been quite an exciting contest. We have so much to talk about it, and I'm pretty sure you all have a lot to say as well. So get all the excitement going in the comment section, and to of course talk further about what they thought. If their predictions, of course, is one aspect of it, but what are they thinking of the game currently? Because it's just gotten a lot more exciting. Let's get on our first guest, Rakesh Deva Reddy, who is the cricket coach as well as cricket analyst, joining us back in the studio. Rakesh, great to have you back. And is this what you really expected from Team India?
Yeah, I've been right from the start of the day, starting of this test match. I've been saying that India can bounce back. India can bounce back. Yes, India didn't score enough in the first innings, but they restricted England. Yes, 99-run lead looked little far away that India could get that get that runs away. But look at the way how Rohit Sharma and Rahul has performed. And one thing I've been always pointing out, saying that if the top order and the openers perform well, then the team will be in comfortable position. It may be India, it may be England, or any other team. So that is what we have witnessed in the first test. They have made a good partnership. Second test, and even in this test match, what is that, 87 odd or something like that. And then there was a good partnership between Pujara and Rohit Sharma. And then the partnership is also getting built between Ravindra Jadeja and the captain Virat Kohli. So this is what, as a team, if every player takes the responsibility, because today the innings from Rohit Sharma looked very compact, and he was ready to take the risk. He was ready to be there as long as possible. He was not in a mood where we generally see him trying to be aggressive after a few balls. But in this particular innings, he looked like he just wanted to stick on there and stay there as long as possible and put a huge total on the board. But unfortunately, he got out. But I would still say India is in a good position. I mean, not comfortable, but in a good position, because the lead is just 171. We've lost 3 wickets, but we haven't seen enough runs from Rishabh Pant, Rahane in the recent. I won't say in the recent past, because Rahane has scored a 61 in Lords. So if they can also contribute maybe 60s or 50s, something like that, if India can get a lead of 350, yes, they'll be in good position, and then they can go in an aggressive mode where they can look to take wickets. So right now they have to continue the same way, get that lead to add another 180, something like that, and then look into that winning upward. Yeah.
Right, of course, that's of course Rakesh's quick take on what he thought of what really, happened today. But if you all have something to say about it, put that in the comment section. And to continue talking about what the other experts thought as well, let me bring on Pratyay Tiwari, who is a content creator, joining us once again back in the studios. Pratyay, how do you feel? What is what are your expectations now going forward?
Well, I said that India needs to bat on the entire day 3 and probably even a bit going into day 4. And that is how exactly I think that India is now going to do. Very good that they have batted the entire day, because this was actually very important. Otherwise, we obviously would have had the result much earlier. And of course, very satisfied to see the way, first of all, to see that kind of a masterclass knock from Rohit Sharma. Always great fun watching him when he gets on song. And this series, he has done that quite often. But often we are very associated with those numbers. We are always stuck about those centuries. So finally, even to those people who wanted to see him score his first overseas century, he has gotten there as well. Except for that pull shot that we have been talking about, I don't think that he deserves any criticism. At least today, after that kind of knock, I'm not going to dissect his mode of dismissal. But I think it was a sheer classy knock. You talk about shot selection, you talk about temperament, you talk about the way he batted technicalities. In every sense of the word, he was absolutely on top of the England bowlers. And a huge credit, I think, 171 runs India is ahead. A huge credit belongs to that man, Rohit Sharma. So I think pretty good. Again, still balanced. Maybe 55-45, I would say, in India's favor right now, because 2 set batsmen looking good. But as Rakesh said, not expecting, I don't know if it would be very fair for us to expect anything right now from the coming men. So this partnership actually holds the entire match now. Wherever they take it from here is where the match is going to go. Kohli and Jadeja.
Right. And I think, like Pratyay say, he doesn't want to really criticize Rohit. They leave that for tomorrow, because Pant will be also probably in action. So we'll probably get Pratyay to talk about that later tomorrow. But having said that, let's bring on our third guest, Gaurav Tripathi, joining us.
It's nothing that I dislike Pant.
Yeah, no,
it's nothing that I dislike Pant, whatever those points were.
Of course, as a professor, you're only fair, so that we'll give that to you. Having said that, let's bring on our third guest, Gaurav Tripathi, who is the content creator, and of course, joining us back once again. Gaurav, you of course had a lot of other predictions in the pre-match analysis, and now coming back and looking at how the day has transpired, are you looking confident for Team India now?
Yeah, definitely. I think first of all, this has been Test cricket of the highest quality. I mean, day one, day two, will say that England are dead ahead in the contest, both in the first 2 days. But looking at how day three fared, I think India are more in command. They are effectively 170 odd for three, and this is the same track where they got bundled out for 191 in the first innings. So I think it's a remarkable comeback for them. And if I have to talk about the entire test matches, we'll see that unexpected things are deciding the course of this game. I mean, we in the first innings we saw Shardul Thakur playing that blinder knock, and everything changed. Had he not played that knock, India would have got bundled out for 120, 130, and at this stage they would have been lagging behind. And in the second innings, so we saw that Chris Wokes scoring that half century, which gave England almost 100 lead. So I think this has been overall a test cricket of highest quality. But India rather, are still ahead in this contest. And I think day four is going to decide a lot of things. I think we might even get a fair idea that who is going to win the test match after the end of the first session. Because if Ravindra Jadeja and Virat Kohli, they are going to bat the entire first session tomorrow, then India is surely going to post anything beyond 300, which is not going to easy to chase in the last innings. So I think India are ahead in this game, but they can't afford to breathe easy because anything can happen in the last 2 days.
Okay, and of course, in terms of three people, of course, contributing that particular scoreboard has to be KL Rahul, Pujara, and of course Rohit Sharma being the star of today. So let's quickly take a look at the scorecard to see where both the teams are currently placed. Now, one has to remember that, of course, this play was stopped due to bad light, but on the other hand, India is leading by 171 runs. Rohit Sharma, creating that magic with 127 runs, and of course Robinson on his first ball and last ball getting 2 wickets. Quite interesting. Again, he has been one of the most consistent players for England. I'll come to you, Rakesh, on this. There's a comment coming in that Pujara got inside edge today. It is getting more predictable. Would you want to take that one?
See, I don't think we still have to continue criticizing Pujara, because I see a lot of difference in his approach. The way he's playing is trying to be more attacking in an attacking way of the kind of way when he starts the innings. And look at Pujara's innings today. While he was playing the spinners, he was just using his legs very nicely, not allowing the bowlers to settle down. Yes, inside edges and taking the outside edges happens regularly for any batsman. I don't think that is something which is a point to be criticized or something. That is very, very unfortunate. You can't do anything, and that was a good ball which cut him slide. So I don't think there is something to be criticized against Pujara. Just that people doesn't want somebody scoring slow because of this T20. That is what I always say. But it is Test cricket. He has contributed. He scored. Last Test match he scored 91. This time he scored 61 when India was. I would say it was under. I mean, they were in a troublesome situation because England scored 99 lead, and India have to chase. Score that runs and then again put a 171 lead. So absolutely a good batting display, I would say.
Okay, so we hope that answers your question. The same person, of course, has another question directed to Pratyek. He wants to know what is your view about KL Rahul's wicket. In the end, he was not happy. Would you like to take that and give us your opinion?
Well, yes, there was a bit of doubt. I think that, see, if you're a batsman, you will always feel that you're not out, and if you're a bowler, you will always feel that the batsman is out. But as the replay suggested, he was trying to suggest that maybe it was his bat which clipped the pad and not the ball. But when we saw the replays, it was at that point of time, it was clear that there was clearly daylight between the bat and the pad. So there was no case of that being the case. I think that he was probably because he was not seeing himself from the front, so he thought that he might have clipped it. But when the ball actually contacted the bat, at that point of time, the bat was very far away. It was pretty far away from the pad. So I don't think that there was too much confusion, because yes, from the front, when the replay was showing from the front, it did create sort of an impression that the bat might have clipped. But when they kind of started to show it from the side angle, then it got a bit clear that it was not It was not a case of bat hitting the pad. And just to add one point, what to what Rakesh said, I absolutely think
Yeah.
that after these two innings that Pujara has played, I don't think that he deserves any criticism, at least for now. Yes, the series has not been his best, but after the kind of knock he played, I mean, there was some really. It was actually surprising to see Pujara bat that way, because some strokes, I mean, the uppercut that he played, and some he was cutting the ball fiercely. I mean, those few things were actually very heartening to see, and he
Yeah.
did in fact bring in those changes into his gameplay, because there was a point of time when he was scoring quicker than even Rohit Sharma. And I mean,
Right.
his strike rate was close to 70-80. By the end of his innings, it came down to around 50 or 60 maybe. But yes, at that point of time, he was playing 70 or 80. So I think that yes,
Right.
it was a great performance by him as well. The way he accelerated the innings. In fact, not often do we see Pujara ever actually being the aggressor in a partnership, and that too when he's having someone as free flowing as Rohit Sharma at the other end. But that is what he ended up
Right.
doing today. So I think that he has actually, with these last two couple of knocks, I think that he has actually shut up his naysayers to a great extent. And if he can continue doing this in this series, then I think all the question marks would be definitely rubbed off.
Maybe that post that Rahane shared earlier about trolls and critics, maybe now Pujara needs to probably be sharing something like that. But having said that, I'll come to you, Gaurav. What do you think is the strategy now, both the captains going into this? Of course, both are looking to win it. That's obvious. But now, considering where the competition is standing right now with both teams, how they've been performing, what do you think is, the mindset going into this now? Or what is the strategy, rather, according to you?
I think the strategy, there is not going to be anything out of the blue. Things are going to be basic. I mean, for India, they have to bat as long as possible, because there's a lot of time left in the play. 2 days are left, so I think they do need to rush anything. If they are going to play two more sessions in day four, it means they are going to have four entire sessions of bundling England out, and that time is enough. So I think India should look to bat at least two more sessions and add 180, 190 runs to give England a substantial total. Anything around 330, 340. I think regardless of how good the pitch is, it's not going to be easy to chase in the last innings. For England, I think they must not be too much worried, because the pitch has done well. So if they are going to restrict India to anything around 250, 260, 270, and especially the way that they have batted well in the first innings. I mean, Joe Root, he was in fine form. He didn't get a run in the first innings, but he scored 3 centuries, and rest of the batters as well. So I think they will back themselves to chase anything less than 300. But if it goes beyond that, I think India is going to have the upper hand.
Okay. Of course, talking about today's performance, one player that, of course, we all have to discuss is Rohit Sharma. So I'll come to you, Rakesh, on that. If you could also take a quick look at his progression over the years. Right now, he's standing tall with 11,000 runs to his credit in 2021. He started off, of course, with 1,000 in 2013. Exceptional journey, of course, for a player like him. Also, because initially, if you look at there's been so many ups and downs for him, whether we spoke about the 2011 World Cup, where he was, of course, not picked, or in terms of him not being the first choice as a test player. But now when you look at it, right, in terms of him performing in all the formats, of course, T20 being the fact that he's associated with a team like Mumbai. But when you look at his test career progression and where he's standing today, take us a little through that, in terms of your analysis of a player also like him in the test format. What do you think, and what can you tell our viewers
Yeah,
about that?
I think the way he started his career, whether it may be T20 or ODI cricket, I mean, we saw him coming in the middle order, and then Dhoni promoted him to the opening spot, and then he started playing well in the opening spot. By that time, nobody was having that confidence that okay, this guy can play, because of his
Yeah.
laziness and because of his fitness issues. That was the initial period where he was struggling a lot with his fitness issue and overweight things and all. But later on, his body language still looks like he's a little bit lazy, but he's not lazy. He's fit and he's a smart cricketer who can analyze the game as the game is going on. Because not every cricketer or not every player has that ability to analyze the game as soon analyze the game when the game is moving on. Generally,
Right.
people come up with some tactics, but this man, if you look at his captaincy, because if you are a good captain, then you can always you have that ability to plan your innings as well. Because there are a lot of good captains who are very good players. Let it be Ricky Ponting, let it be Saurav Ganguly, let it be Mahendra Singh Dhoni, let it be Sanath Jayasuriya for that matter, Great Smith for that matter. So when you have that leadership qualities, when you know how to deal the team, so then obviously you can bat better. Yes, there are captains who couldn't manage to perform better by their own, but this guy, he knows what he wants and he knows what a team wants from him. And also when you are playing for years and years, you get that experience. So using that experience and scoring runs, getting better and better. But I think what I feel is generally, what I feel is he could have made a little more. He could have made his test debut little more earlier than the time what he had made. Otherwise, we could have seen him scoring many more runs. But still, I mean, the way he played in today's knock, it was absolutely amazing. Just that I saw a lot of composure, lot of calmness, a lot of what do you call that, ability to take that risk. Risk is something he just wanted to stay there, because in Test cricket it is really hard for any player, for players like Rohit Sharma, who who most of the times rely on their strokes, and who want to hit the ball, who loves to hit the ball out of the park. So he himself wanted to come out of that thing and stay there, because that is something which he adopted really well. So adopting to the situations, he's very well. He knows very well how to adapt to the situations. So that is what which is making Rohit Sharma to perform well, whether it may be T20 cricket, whether it may be international cricket, I mean ODI cricket or Test cricket. But
Yeah.
what I feel is he could have made a little more earlier than his debut than what he had made. So we could have seen more.
Then
But absolutely amazing player. Tell me any player other than Rohit Sharma who has that beautiful timing. I don't see any other player. Maybe Rohit Sharma and then Sanju Samson, I would say. But this guy Sanju Samson, he doesn't score consistently.
okay, okay, what do you all think about that? Let me know in the comment section. Now, somebody who of course is known for his opinions and cheeky comments, of course, has to be Michael Vaughan, and he had something very interesting to tweet earlier, that for fielding practice somebody should be attending his cricket academy for dropping Rohit Sharma twice. So Prati, I'll come to you on that. Things could have really changed for Team England if
Yeah.
that wouldn't have happened. So what's your quick take on that?
Well, I think England's fielding, I mean, specifically in the slips, has been absolutely terrible this series. I mean, they have dropped 16 or 17 catches, if I'm not wrong. In this entire series, they have dropped at least 16, 17 catches already. And even
Yeah.
otherwise, we were discussing, and I was having a look at the stats that was being shown on the broadcast. Since 2019, their catching percentage in the slips has been terrible again. So, and they are ranking pretty low on that table as well, in terms of all the countries. So I think that yes, they are definitely going to miss him, because he was dropped. The first catch that Rory Burns dropped was yesterday, and that time he was playing somewhere around 18 or 19 odd. And if they would have had dismissed him back then, not only would have England gotten a sniff early on, because India managed to get on by the end of day two, they were not having any loss of wickets. So that actually helped them out in a way or two, because then they build on that partnership. And these are two men who have already, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, have already had good partnerships. So they had that one chance. Maybe I don't know what happened with him there. He did not side the ball because he suddenly reacted, and it was a clear case. It felt as if he did not side the ball. By the time he realized, it would have anyways been a low catch, because the ball had actually gotten close to his boot. But if he would have reacted maybe in time, he might have stuck as well. Today, I think that the chance was a bit difficult, because he was diving and he has dived to a full length, and then the ball kind of spilled out of his hands. But I think that yes, England's fielding has, even in general, it has been quite terrible in the slips. On the other hand, India has done pretty well. India has actually done pretty well in the slips. So I think that yes, they would be definitely missing it, because if you take out the runs that Rohit Sharma has scored, 22 if he would have been dismissed yesterday, 20 odd, his 100 runs that he has
they
scored
won't have
are
been.
off the table. And yes, exactly. And I mean, yes, Kohli is playing right now, so is Jadeja. But Kohli has not been in the best of his form. A couple of half centuries notwithstanding, he has not been at his prime at least. And then with Rahane again coming in and Pant coming in, they might have got something, because one wickets always, we say, even what happened today, once the new ball was taken, Oli Robinson in single over, he dismissed both the set batsmen. He got Cheteshwar Pujara, and then he also got Rohit Sharma. And just one point, Rakesh absolutely stole the words out of my mouth, that why on earth did we not have Rohit Sharma earlier? Because when you look him play this way, I really feel that he is just 3,000 runs in his Test career. I really, really feel that if he would have been given a consistent run as an opener right since he made his debut. Because even in his debut series, he had a couple of back-to-back centuries against West Indies, which was incidentally the last series of Sachin Tendulkar. If from there, if we would have had Rohit Sharma, I can guarantee it from my side, he would have already been closing in on 8-9,000 test runs already, and with at least 15-16 centuries to his name. So I think that it's actually already a great loss for the cricket fraternity that they have not been able to see Rohit Sharma more. But I'm really happy that at least now we are being able to see him the way he has played, and I just wish that he goes on to continue the same way. But to answer
Right.
that question, I
Hopefully,
think
get to
that
see.
England would be missing those chances that yeah, they are going to review it big time. If India can score on 350 something like that target, I think it will actually come down to those drop catches a lot more.
Abhay has a comment saying Burns is the 12th player of India. Well, that's only reserved for one person is Jarvo, which we earlier, of course, spoke about as well. That's, of course, on a lighter note. But Gaurav, I'll come to you. A lot of conversation happening about what is a good target. Is it 350? What is the target India is looking for? Another person says 487 minimum. What's your take? What is the ideal target according to you?
See, in England, we have seen that as the game progresses, then the batting becomes easier. In comparison to the subcontinental conditions, I think if you talk about India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, even in UAE, a target of anything over 200 is not going to be easy. But when you go overseas in Australia, South Africa, countries like these, then you have seen that a target of 350 have been chased. I remember the last test match of the 2018 series between India and England. Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul scored centuries in the test match, and India came close of chasing around 400. So I think any target is not going to be absolutely safe on the surface, but India should back themselves to bundle England out if after scoring something, after giving them a target of 350 or 360 runs, because they have to give themselves at least 4 sessions on this wicket. And despite that, if England win, then it means that someone from the England camp, Joe Root or any other player, has played an exceptional log, like Ben Stokes' heroics in Headingley. That's not going to be played every day. So I think India should back themselves to give England a target of 350 and taking the 10 wickets to win the test match.
Okay, so I guess for the ones asking, 350 is probably the ideal number that, of course, our expert is giving. Whether that's going to happen, we'll have to wait and watch. But before we wrap up, this is one discussion that's been going on in the cricketing world. Rakesh also did, speak about this earlier in terms of his inclusion to the team, the conversation happening as to why he was not included. Of course, I'm talking about Ashwin. Rakesh, I'll come to you because a viewer directly wants to know your opinion on Nick's comment that he had tweeted saying that, the obvious reason why Ashwin is not included is because there's personal issues with Kohli. Now, that we can't confirm. But on the other hand, there were also, fans talking about the fact that that's probably why Tim Payne had made that comment earlier, saying at least my teammates, like me, those kind of jibes and these kind of things surfacing. How do you look at that? Because this viewer wants to know your opinion. So if you could tell us what you think.
Generally, we like to hear when we see that comment saying that okay, Kohli and Ashwin has a personal issue. That's why we're not seeing.
Yeah.
But I think those all the things. I don't think those are the things which really matters, because playing at an international level in India being the dominant country in the cricketing world, and if a player is really performing well, yes, Ashwin is performing well. But maybe I think if you look at the 2018 tour, even during that tour also, between Ashwin and Jadeja, if I'm not wrong, Indian team choose to play Jadeja than Ashwin in the first test match, if I'm not wrong, I guess. And if you look at the overseas wickets of Ashwin compared to Jadeja, Ashwin is still behind Jadeja in the recent past, maybe a couple of years, something like that. I think that is one reason. And the second reason is spinner. If you look at England, not just in this series, the series before this where England played against New Zealand, and the series where England played against Pakistan or West Indies or somewhere there, they were not really relying on the spinners, and spinners were not giving too many wickets as well. So that is the secondary thing. And the third thing is who else you want to drop if you want to get in Ashwin, because three fast bowlers playing in England is definitely it's more or less like a mandatory thing. And you need an extra batsman because you're already not playing Hanuma Vihari, who has played in Australia. So there is no other option. And if you compare Ashwin and Jadeja in terms of batting in the recent past, Jadeja looks much more better than Ashwin. Yes, Ashwin might have scored a century against England in India, but look at the overseas records of Ravindra Jadeja in terms of batting. And right from the 2020 IPL, he has been exceptionally performing well with the bat. So I think these are few factors which really matters, and there are few other factors as well, because I mean it's not really working out well for Ashwin in Sena countries as well. Last time we were speaking about Ashwin during the World Test Championship, saying that oh, if Ashwin takes only 5 wickets, then his performance is recognized. It is not like that. But the thing is, looking at all these factors, and it's not just Virat Kohli who takes the decision. Yes, he might
Right.
be the final decision maker, but at the same time, the coach is also going to be involved. So these are the few factors why Indian team is not picking Ashwin in the playing 11. And except last test where India got bundled out for 76, other than that, I think Indian bowlers were performing well. So there's no room to bring in Ashwin looking at the current situation. It doesn't mean that Ashwin is not a player who fits in the playing 11. There will be a lot of players who performs well, but at the end of the day, the combination is something which really matters when you're picking the playing 11. So that combinational
Right.
thing, which is not allowing Ashwin to be in the playing 11, that's what I personally feel.
Right, and I hope that for whoever asked this question, you have got your answer. Of course, these reports of rifts, and especially with Virat Kohli, whether it's in terms of Rohit Sharma, and now Ashwin is, of course, the new person on the block. But they, of course, have to go through all of these things. Like like Rakesh said, if somebody does not perform, then you're of course questioning them. But when they're in great form, then you say, okay, it was a great inclusion to the team. So there's always this side and that side of it. And I hope Ashwin's exclusion doesn't come back to bite India, as what Rajesh says. But we'll have to wait and watch.
I want to add
Wait
something
and-
here. Hello.
Sure, Gaurav, go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, from the Ashwin thing, I mean, I completely disagree with what Nick Compton says. What he has said, it was his theory. But I would like to go back to Tim Payne. He said that at least my teammates like me. So
Yeah.
Tim Payne is someone who likes to go have a go at the players. So I don't think that was something which automatically came in his mind, that at least my teammates like me. It means that he might have seen something which made him do that comment. So I'm not saying that it might have happened.
We know what you're trying to say.
No, actually, see, if anything, we have personal liking and disliking. We have seen many players coming out and saying that during my playing days, this player did this to me, this player did this to me. Normally, we do get that kind of stories with Pakistan cricketers. But even if Virat Kohli has some personal disliking with Ashwin, if he thought that this player is going to win me test matches, then Ashwin
Yeah.
would have played every game. It was just like a team management, just like Rakesh mentioned that we were talking about
It's a
the
collective
four-man pace attack. Yeah, four-man pace attack. He's doing very well, and now we're talking about that why Ashwin is not there. But just like you mentioned, then it came to my mind that why Tim Payne would have made that sort of comment, that at least my teammates like me.
Right.
It gives
It
a
got you
suggestion
thinking?
that yeah, it gives a suggestion that he might have seen something, because these two teams were playing, teams were together, so he might have seen something. I think Payne can answer it to better, but
Yeah, maybe we should
it just
try.
came to my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably
See,
getting
actually,
of course.
just to add one point to that, to what Gaurav was saying. See, I think
Yeah.
whatever Tim Payne had to say, I mean, see, players when they are playing against each other, when India Australia were playing, there was so much banter going on, and even in this series, we have seen a lot of verbal heat
Sparks,
going
yeah.
on. So I think that yes, these are more of general opinions that players have. I mean, about each other. I mean, we cannot take them very seriously. Nick Compton tweeting something about Virat Kohli, or even Tim Payne saying. I mean, I personally would not look at it that way. That Tim Payne said it because he saw something. Because it could just be a simple case of him trying to get under the skin of Ashwin, try to disturb his rhythm, say something that why was Rishabh Pant
To rile
saying
him
him. Yeah, just
Yeah.
to rile him up. And why was Rishabh Pant calling him a temporary captain, or that babysitting episode? All of that, these things are just on the ground. So I don't think it would be very fair for us to kind of take that into it. See, because I personally feel Ashwin has played a lot of Test cricket under Virat Kohli, and I don't think
Yeah.
that this kind of team, that the entire Indian team, the way they have performed over the five. I mean, you're talking about a team that has dominated the test rankings for 5 years. And I personally am of the opinion that no team can do that if they are at loggerheads amongst themselves. If you have to play as a team. No one, it's this is a team sport. I mean, no single player can win you matches. Apart from exceptional situations, no single player is going to win you matches. So if a team is being able to perform that well, you need to believe that they are united. As far as these reports are concerned, we have seen plenty of them. These are not the first time. This is not going to be the last time either. But I think that yes, personally, I've been surprised that Ashwin has traveled on this tour. He played on this ground. He took a six for playing for Surrey against Somerset, and then not playing him as actually a little bit confusing. And if he does not play in Manchester, then I would be very, very surprised, because then, I mean, yeah, but I mean, what was he doing then? Why was he taken then? Let him do something else. I mean, if you're taking a player, and if at that senior a player, 413 wickets, it's not a joke to take 400 test match wickets. So if he's not playing even a single test match, then definitely it does raise a question. But I'm still not quite agreed with this.
So if he doesn't play the fifth test match, if he doesn't play the fifth test match, do I come back and ask you the same question?
No. I still, as I said, I still said that I still don't feel that there is going to be any rift. Rakesh said, I think it's a fair point that they have called about the template. Just to add one point to it, I think in the WTC final, I mean, Indians have this habit. I am an Indian myself. We are never satisfied. In the WTC final, I remember Indians were being bashed for playing two spinners and going with three pacers. Now they are opting four pacers and one spinner, and you are asking play Ashwin. The end of the day, you can only सिर्फ 11 ही खेल सकते हैं. You cannot bring in 12 or 13 people on the ground. It's a problem of plenty that India has had since last 20 years. Every time you talk about Indian team, you're talking about a bunch of players. So what does the captain do? I mean, I know it's how hard it must be for. I mean, imagine yourself in Virat Kohli's shoes, going and telling Ashwin again and again, match after match, that Ash, you're not playing. Imagine what that actually makes him go through. But then what do you do? Because your team combination is not allowing you to play a player of that caliber.
Cut you in between there, but I think even on his YouTube channel, he did address that, saying that, at one point he was supposed to play, but because of the change in weather conditions, he realized that they were going with a different strategy. So I think he understands what it is, right? And I think for people to understand from the outer, perspective, because like you said, they did see him, you have a good record, and then why is that question ultimately? But like I said previously as well, that only Ashwin, Kohli, and of course Ravi Shastri can answer all these questions that we have. But because of course, viewers want to understand what is of course, at the end of the day, the team that they're supporting, what is the captain's strategy, or rather fans just wanting to know why probably, Ashwin's not being picked. And probably we'll have to wait and watch for the fifth one to see will he finally make it to that playing 11 or not. But before we leave, Rakesh, what is your prediction for tomorrow? Before we wrap up, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I think Kohli and Jadeja have to play for at least 1.5 hours and score some 50 odd runs between them. At least if they can score more than that, then that should be good. But somehow, somewhere, my sixth sense feels that India might lose a couple of wickets so early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I think someone did comment about that cluster situation. Will Rakesh's sixth sense come true or not? It'll not be good if it does come true. But that is, of course, the reality of how things are being, things have happened for Team India. Hopefully, tomorrow will be, a day where they can cement that opportunity of putting up a brilliant partnership. But what is going to be happening tomorrow, like I always say, for you to find out, stay tuned to, of course, CricTracker show in the air, because we'll be back once again with all our experts to discuss about this fabulous 4th test match between England and India. And of course, until we see you next time, take care of yourselves and stay safe.